My name is Gautam Premnath. I'm a new arrival in the English department at UNR, but I'm getting the measure of the place and of the students and liking it very much so far. I have had a fairly roundabout route to get here. I was born in India and I'm still an Indian citizen, but actually moved as a young child to the Middle East, to the United Arab Emirates, Dubai, which is where I grew up. I came out here to the US for college after I finished school. I've studied at a variety of institutions in the US, at Yale University, at the University of Pittsburgh, and at Brown, and taught at a couple of different places before I arrived at UNR, at the Boston campus of the University of Massachusetts and at the Berkeley campus of the University of California. My pathway towards an English major in college was quite complicated because for much of my time in college I just assumed that I was not going to be able to major in English, that it would give my parents a heart attack if I told them that I was going to be majoring in this field. So I was taking lots of English courses all along, but always had a more sensible seeming major that was officially on the books. Computer science for about a semester, engineering briefly, economics for a few years. And it was my parents actually who came and talked to me this summer between my junior and senior years and said, look, clearly your heart isn't in this economics business and you seem to be really doing well in these English courses. And they effectively gave me permission to major in English, something to which I'm still tremendously grateful to them, because it was a real leap into the unknown for them, and they were willing to trust me and to take that leap with me. So I had a very intense senior year as an English major. I just really threw myself intensely into literary studies in ways that I hadn't been able to before. I wrote an honors thesis that has still stayed with me. It was looking at the fiction of Rudyard Kipling, Stocky and Company, and Kim in particular, and reading it in light of a novel from the 1940s by a little-known but extremely influential writer called G.V. Desani, all about H. Hatter. And as absorbing and as fulfilling as that project was, it just really brought home to me how much I still had to do. I felt like I had a lot of unfinished business in the English major, and that's one of the reasons that I decided to apply to graduate school. I think concerns about employability were always there in the back of my mind. I think I had the luxury when I was in college of feeling, I was sort of young and I felt indestructible. I felt like I had a chance to make a few mistakes as well. I went on to graduate school in English without a very clear-cut sense of what career pathways that would open up to me. I think many of my own students who go on to graduate school now are much more clueful, frankly, about what it is that they're getting into, how to prepare themselves, both for a possible career as an academic, but also for the alternative career pathways that might open up for them. I kind of lucked into a career in academia. I learned very quickly when I was in my first year of graduate school that this was something I could kind of imagine doing in the long term. And I sort of had a lot of help, a lot of guidance, a lot of luck that allowed me to find a permanent position in academia. Things don't work out that way for a lot of people, but when I think about what many of my peers, both in college and grad school, have ended up doing with their degrees, not all of them are doing something that's squarely within the field to the extent that my own career has been. But most of them have done something interesting, have used the skills, the knowledge, the habits of mind that they've acquired as students of literature in a variety of different pathways, and I find that often very inspiring. I can really relate to people who are kind of hesitant or cautious about taking that step. But it's important to think not just in terms of the kind of very rational cost-benefit calculations that one can make, but also about how one is going to be most fulfilled as a student and as a person. I think that people who major in English, some of them can be just as alienated from their studies as people who are as I was as a student of economics. But if they choose it wholeheartedly, if they kind of pursue its implications most fully, whether or not they go into a career that directly uses some of that knowledge, they're going to have had the experience of pursuing their interests wholeheartedly and in ways that I think will benefit them, whatever their ultimate career pathway might be. The thing that I've thought about as an alternative pathway was editing, scholarly editing in particular. The summer between my college graduation and my first semester of graduate school, I actually interned at a university press and just really loved it. I loved the really sort of close, nuts and boltsy work that we did with other writers' prose. I feel like a lot of the satisfaction I got from that kind of work carries over into how I approach student writing. The ways in which I comment on student papers are very important to me. I feel like some of my most important teaching happens there, rather than when I'm, not just in the classroom. I think some of my own experiences as an English major have certainly carried over into how I approach teaching the subject. I'm always conscious of the different pathways that people have taken to get to that room. I love it when I teach a course that has non-majors in the room, especially non-majors who are very interested in literature but don't necessarily always feel the same sense of comfort or familiarity with the routines of an English undergraduate classroom.